So, we are off to the races. Testing, sorted.
Testing.
Yep, you're good, buddy. Hello. Me and Mathew from, as I would know, Thunder Park, are going to go behind the beer and the BANTER. So, welcome, buddy.
Thank you.
Just a brief background. Like most of my conversations now, I didn't grow up with a guest. I didn't go to school with a guest. I don't know the guest. So this is a first conversation between me and you, and I want to thank Ross Porter for connecting us.
Shout out, Ross.
Shout out, Ross. So we're just up. Cheers, my man.
While it's still cold.
While it's still cold. And yeah, literally we're gonna go back to the start. You know, I always like to think that entrepreneurs are kind of born and then we're made. You know, so what one of the questions I kind of angle round, it's like, were you kind of forced into being an entrepreneur, or was it always in you, basically?
I think it was always in me.
Yeah.
However, the first business I started, I didn't realise it was a business until it became a business.
Yes. What was that? What age were you?
I was 19. I was an apprentice in Bombardier, doing the apprenticeship program, which my parents pushed me towards because that's a stable job, with a pension, blah blah blah. Big company, you'll be secure.
Yep.
And my local skate park closed during me being an apprentice, and I met a group of guys and we all sat down together and talked about getting a skate park for Belfast.
Very good.
And that it was going to be this big project, and it took all this commitment and yada yada yada. And I had no clue what we're doing. We just knew we were up for it.
Yeah.
So we came to the conclusion that we needed to prove to Belfast City Council that people would travel from across Northern Ireland to come to a skate park. And the best way we could prove that was to build and open our own skate park.
Yeah.
Then we'll take all the information that people come in, what age they are, how long they stayed, how far they've travelled by getting, the first part of the postcode, BT5, BT60, BT30, whatever. Took all this information, gave it to the council, and we're like, right, listen, we've been open for X amount of months, and we've had this amount of people through the door. We're the only skate park in the country, and if you had one that was outdoor and free, expect that number to at least double, because it's freely accessible.
Absolutely.
That was the idea behind it.
Yes.
Now,
how much traction did you get?
well, we delivered the project.
Oh wow! How many? This was when you were 19.
Started when I was 19.
And this was just you and a group of mates.
No, not even mates.
No,
just a group of people who all wanted the same end result, which was the skate park for Belfast. So our project, our main focus, the only thing we wanted to do was to get a free outdoor skate park for Belfast.
Yeah.
And to achieve that, we gave ourselves 7 years of ridiculously hard work.
Wow. And
we had to prove everything. You say this, prove it. You say that, prove it. So we did everything we said we were going to do, and 500% more.
Very good.
So we built and opened this skate park ourselves, and all of a sudden it takes up so much time, so much commitment. I had to turn around to my boss and say, thanks for everything, but I'm out.
And you were still doing your apprenticeship with the Bombardier?
3 days before finishing, I left.
No way!
My parents were fuming.
Ooh!
I still lived at home, and I brought home news of, hey guys, guess what?
Balls to burn!
I'm not doing this anymore.
Holy shit!
That went down at far as
I would imagine. That was that went down like the Titanic, didn't it? Because what I find with entrepreneurs, and they're so consumed with their idea. One of the first hurdles that I find entrepreneurs face is the parents, and some are supportive and some are not. I'm cut from the cloth of they were supportive after the fact, but see that with you the experience, leaving jobs, leaving your apprenticeship, that's traumatic. That's trauma.
Only for them.
Well, true.
Just-
But it's the living at home thing too, with their rules kind of
Yes.
umbrella. But no, I get that. It's traumatic for them. But it's facing that. Was there an argument, a row?
No.
No. So how did the lead balloon go down?
I just went home and I thought, I'm quite straight up and down. I
Yeah.
find the easiest way to get through life is just to put it out there and move on. So
Yeah.
I came home and I was like, guys, mum, dad, I've left shorts.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I can remember my
Yeah,
mum's
yeah,
voice, like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
Like it was a second ago. And she was like, what on earth would you do that for? You threw away this, you threw away that. And I was like, I don't care, I'm working on something important.
Yeah.
And so I would class myself, pretty much my life so far, I'm a BMXer,
Yeah.
right? So people identify as whatever they want to identify as.
Yeah.
Regardless of what I'm doing, at my core, I'm super passionate about doing tricks on bikes.
Yeah.
And I have been since I was really, really young. It excites me, it lets me travel. All of my friends in all walks of life are all through BMX.
Brilliant.
So that passion for me,
But that's a blessing
is a
as well, because there's a lot of people get to 20s, 30s, 40s, and they still don't know what they want to do. Do you know what I mean? So to have that blessing and that passion from day one is must be cracker.
I didn't even know it. I just only wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whatever I needed to do to enable me to continue doing that, I was willing to do it.
Yeah. You do bikers on. That was your
Totally.
that was your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's awesome. Because you've clearly built on that.
Somewhat. I mean, to a lot of people who haven't a clue, the thing is, I've done a lot of cool stuff. I've
Yeah.
had a shitload of impact,
Yeah.
but in the most niche area possible.
Yeah.
So
What
if
was
you have no knowledge of local BMX, skateboarding or urban sports, you're just like, who, what?
I know.
I've worked on and
I'm probably
delivered
that guy.
about 3 million quid of projects.
Yeah.
That's class to say out loud,
Yeah.
but who has it impacted? Is it impacting as much as football is? No.
Yeah.
Is it doing what, downhill mountain bikes doing for the country?
Yeah,
It's not,
you look
but-
what the UFC's done in as
Exactly.
many years.
Yeah.
So I kind of see your comparison. I see your argument.
Yes.
But
It's huge in the smallest way possible, in the smallest area possible.
Yeah.
However, for me personally, the satisfaction is just like overwhelming.
yeah. So it's like I'd sacrifice that. I'd take that. 'Cause you do get to the stage where like, do you go get a job for money, all satisfying, but you've got money, or do you sacrifice, a lot of other stuff to get that reward from your fucking your job, your career, your passion, your thing? It's like, can you have your cake and eat it? Do you know what I mean? Are you trying to have your cake and eat it?
I don't even know the answer to that question.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm not that
It's-
well organised.
No, me neither. But it's kind of like because I'm an outsider looking in here at you, and as far as I'm concerned, you followed your passion your whole life. You're winning. And from what I'm hearing from you is, you still feel untapped.
I still feel like I haven't even done
Yeah.
my big thing yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what
And I'm
it is.
looking at you thinking you followed your passion from day one. That's fucking. You can't ask for any more. Because I'm from the cloth of that works. That makes money. I'll sacrifice the fact that I mightn't fucking enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So talking to somebody that has enjoyed what they're doing from day one, I'm like, damn.
Well, there is enjoying, and there's also the feeling of obliged. So, because I was involved in the project from the very beginning, so there was an extreme sports magazine in this country a long
Yes.
time ago
Yes.
called Free Flow,
Yes.
and I was at Ormo BMX track in East Belfast.
Yeah.
Our photographer came in while I was riding bikes with my friend. Now I was 17, 18 at the time, and he says, "Can I take pictures of you for a magazine?" And I was like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
So he takes these pictures. He's like, "What's your name?" I gave him the name. He's like, "Give us your phone number in case we ever want to talk to you about something." I said, "Right,
Very good.
give him a phone number." Lo and behold, he phones me and he says, "I want you to come to a meeting." I'm like, "Okay." So I show up at the meeting, and I am the youngest person in the room by 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
And the guy who ran the magazine was called Liam, Australian fella, and he says, "Guys, let's get a skate park for Belfast. Who's up for it?" And we're all just like, "Yeah, absolutely." You know, he didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing. We just knew
Yeah.
there's these amount of us, and we're going to organise ourselves in such a way that we're not walking into a council boardroom with a petition.
Yeah.
We're like, we represent these sports, and this is what we want to do.
Brilliant.
And we did it. And on that day, on that first meeting, Liam was super organised in a sense of, guys, we need to set up an association, we need to give ourselves a name, we need to be professional so we're taken seriously. Who wants to be the chairman? Who wants to be the secretary? Who wants to be blah blah blah? 19-year-old Mathew goes, "I'll do it." And I'm like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
So I put my hand up to be chairman, the baby of the room.
Brilliant.
Didn't know what it meant at the time. I
Yep.
just thought, cool, yeah, I'm committed to something here.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever.
Right.
If it's going to get me to B.M.X, I'm up for it. And I couldn't have possibly imagined the responsibility that would come with putting my hand up in that moment.
Yeah.
And from that moment onwards, I felt absolutely locked into that project. Obligated, big time. And one of the major factors of me leaving Bombardier was that we kept having, as an association called Belfast Urban Sports, we kept having to go to Belfast City Council and have meetings with them all the time. You had to speak to the Parks Department, you had to speak to the flipping Grounds Department, you had to speak to planning, you had to speak to whatever, because they didn't have a clue what we were talking about. It's not like building a football pitch where you flick through the magazine and go, yeah, we'll take pitch number 87. You know, we had to like lead them by the hand the entire way along, and that could have been hundreds of hours of meetings
Easily.
in Belfast City Council.
Because you're educating them?
Yeah. However, if we didn't attend the meetings they set on the day and time, the project would have stopped. So it's like every one of us were in the water and we're all frantically swimming to keep this project from sinking the entire time. And because there was meeting upon meeting upon meeting, and it was a big amount of money, and it was a big project and it had never been done before, I kept having to go to my boss at the time, which was that he was the nicest man in the world. His name was Ken. I'll never forget him. What a gentleman. And I'd say, "Ken, I need to book a holiday." He's like, "What for?" I was like, "I've got a council meeting for this thing I'm doing." He's like, "Right."
And you're 19?
I'm 19.
What age is Ken then?
Oh, 50s.
Yeah.
Super
Different generation as well.
Different generation,
like,
but maybe the nicest manager I've ever had.
Yeah, life experience, you see. He's probably seen, you know.
He probably just saw ridiculous passion and enthusiasm, and he was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So came to the point where I ran out of holidays. I was like, "Ken, I need unpaid leave. I have to be in town for 2 o'clock on Friday."
Brilliant.
And that only lasted so long. So I ran out of holidays, ran out of unpaid leave, and we were nowhere near the end of this project.
No.
So myself and a couple of the other guys who were very dedicated and really going above and beyond to make sure we went to these meetings, I basically had to turn around to the boss and say, "This project's more important than my job.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything. I don't want to leave, but I don't really have a choice, because I'm not going to let that project drop."
And at the end of the day, if there's ever a good time to be making serious choices like that, it's when you're 19.
Exactly.
Imagine,
didn't have kids,
didn't have kids, didn't have mortgages, didn't have
responsibility.
hire purchase on the car. You know, it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect. You done the right thing. Because as I say, imagine you hadn't have, and then you got to 40, and you were thinking back saying,
I wish I had it.
I wish I had it.
So I am of the belief that because we went above and beyond as a collective and got that project across the line, that was £500,000 of peace-funded money built that facility in Belfast, and it took us round about 7 to 8 years from starting to completion. That's an insane length of time for a project. There were people coming into job roles, working on the project with us, moving up the ladder or sidestepping. So we were working for 3 or 4 years with a guy called Chris. All of a sudden Chris gets promoted. Chris isn't in the scene anymore. We're now dealing with Francis. All of a sudden Francis gets promoted and we're dealing with Charlie. And we're just like, this is fucked up.
So is it still there?
Bridges is Northern Ireland's first outdoor concrete skate park. It's free, it's open 7 days a week. And I have the feeling, because that project got across the line, in one of the biggest cities in the country, it made it a lot easier for every other council to go, well, it's already happened. It's not this big, uninsurable, super dangerous, extreme break your arms every 2 seconds thing. It's like, no, we've opened it. We've taught thousands of kids how to do this safely. We're engaged in cross-community programs. We're running competitions. We're inviting people over from, we're doing amazing things with this facility. And now we have 11. And that's from 2010 till now.
Well, them skate parks all over the place. So you were the original blueprint.
That was the first one, and it made it very easy for all other councils. To come on board.
Could you maybe force through legislation? You force through education.
We had to get Sport NI to recognise skateboarding, B.M.X, and rollerblading as sports, so it could even be funded. They were just like, those are hobbies. They're not sports.
Wow.
And now they're Olympic sports.
I know.
But back in the day, it was like, what are you talking about? We're not going to spend money on something. That's like silly mates.
It was even, there was a lot of convincing and persuading had to be done there. Like
it was exhausting. It was relentless.
Yeah, you probably couldn't do that now. You think of the energy of a 19-year-old.
Oh, big time.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's powerful. That's. Should be so proud of yourself, like. Or are you one of these guys that's never satisfied?
I'll tell you what, it's not that I'm not satisfied. It doesn't matter what I'm doing or what I've done, how big or small, there's always something coming. So it's like, as soon as we finished the Bridges project, in the middle of it, we opened and closed the skate park.
Wow.
And then while the Bridges project's still happening, we open and grow another skate park, which was the biggest indoor skate park ever in Ireland. And it opened, ran and closed. And as soon as that was, in the middle of that, we're never ever doing, I say we, I'm always partnered with somebody. I can't do this all on my own.
No, something of that scale.
I would always be one of the significant drivers of it, because there's a guy who's relentless. We'll work alongside you, until a certain point where someone's like, whoa, this is a monster. I've kind of done what I wanted to do, I'm out. So I feel like I've worked with maybe 25 people from 2006 until now.
And that
I don't work with any of them anymore. But I'm the only person in the entire process who's still doing the exact same thing.
Wow, that's a serious drive, like. And is it all fueled by just pure passion, or what's the drive? What's the driver here? Because there's guys out there.
It changes all the time.
Interesting.
So
there's guys out there that would love to be able to bottle that drive and buy it. Like that's a serious drive. Not everybody has that drive.
So whenever I first wanted the skate park for Belfast, that drive was for two main reasons. I wanted somewhere to ride. Because my local park had closed and I was back to curbs and flipping grass banks and, do you know what I mean? Basically nothing. And then I had a point to prove. Not necessarily a point to prove to anybody, but I had a point to prove of, I'm not gonna let you stop this just because you don't know what I'm talking about. And we did that. And I guess some part of me will celebrate that forever.
That's awesome.
Although it seems so far in the past, it's literally out of my mind entirely. Unless you're talking to me about it and I'm thinking about it again, it literally doesn't even enter my mind.
Because you're on the next project kind of thing. Is that what it is? I think that's what I was trying to touch on. A lot of entrepreneurs have great success and then they don't even stop to enjoy it because they're straight on to the next project. And I think for you sharing that story with me, I think that's fucking gigantic what you achieved there. Do you know what I mean? And to hear that you're only warming up is
well. Again, thank you for the kudos, but I'm not going to pretend for a second it was all me. But what I can definitely say is
you were a big part of it.
I committed to the process the entire way through.
And you got across the finish line.
That's satisfying. Regardless of who knows it or not, that is like a resilience foundation in me.
And again, we've never met. I don't know anything of this story. I'm hearing it straight off the press, right? Again, being able to finish a project is a fucking skill all in itself. Do you know how many people out there don't finish what they start?
Yeah, my dad.
Oh shit.
He's half-started projects from his entire life.
And it's so common. People never finish it. Whereas, never mind your drive, never mind, you know, so you've got the drive, and that's fine, but people have the drive only halfway through, then they reignite the drive for another project and only get halfway through.
Yes.
So you've got the drive, you can complete, you know, you've got to cross the fucking finish line, but here's what you touched on as well, that resilience. Because you can have the drive all you want, but then you hit adversity, the difficulties, problems, and you've also had, you know, what entrepreneurs have is this fucking dog with a bone, like, you know, how many fucking, like at 19, you know,
I had no clue what I was doing.
well, I mean, I could probably time fucking shoelaces at 19, you know, but you're dealing with fucking Belfast City Council. You're dealing with fucking, you know,
Who just want you to go away.
who just want you to fuck off.
Yeah, because you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't, you know, so you're having to educate people. These are fucking adults. They want to go to work, get paid, fuck off. You know, whereas you're like a dog with a bone, dealing. You know, I understand there's a team there as well, but you're dealing with fucking problems. You know, adversities, like real ones.
And not overly proactive organisations.
Yeah.
You know, we're coming in pitching this idea, uninsurable. It's too dangerous.
Yeah. So probably.
I feel like, I can't say this for sure, but I feel like we coined new terminology.
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't doubt that.
We sat together as a team, and we're like, we're into extreme sports.
Yeah.
There was the Extreme Sports channel. People are familiar with it.
Yeah.
So we decided one day in 2006, we're never ever going to use that word again, because as soon as you say extreme in Northern Ireland, people are like, whoa, no.
I get that.
So we're like, okay, cool, we're going to take out extreme, we're going to put in urban.
Yeah.
So
and then
extreme
everything
sports
shifts.
died and urban sports started, and we called ourselves Belfast Urban Sports. And we're talking about urban sports that you do in an urban
That was
environment.
a genius move. Like
That was Liam's. I'm going to give it to him.
genius move.
He's a super creative guy.
Yeah, but he recognised that.
He
Whenever
did.
you're having a conversation, we use this word extreme. People are backing off.
Yes.
He noticed that, made the adjustment, and then
And we just
propelled forward
pushed
from there.
in numbers behind it. And
Wow.
by the way, I still use that. I still use that terminology because it works.
Yeah. Vocabulary is a massive thing, you know. The only way that I can kind of relate to what you achieved there is, you know, like the UFC. I would watch a lot of UFC, and you go back to they had to educate every state in America to get, you know, legislation changed. Do you know what I mean? Like this is what you were doing at 19, trying to get an extreme sport, you know, mainstream,
De-demonized.
de-demonized,
Or-
and
And have all
accepted.
the disgusting stigma attached to it removed.
Yeah.
You know, we're going in there not dressing like bikers and skaters because we don't want to be associated with hoodie culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
You had to make so many conscious
And
decisions.
I'm guessing there's no money.
Oh, hell then. Dude, this is the
Holy
thing.
shit.
When you're a passionate person
guys.
working on a passion project,
It's all
money
you got.
doesn't even come into it.
Yeah. So how much do you think you spent alone, even just getting buses and taxis and fucking?
Couldn't even possibly.
You didn't even think about it.
No,
Just
never.
fueled purely on
It
passion.
was only getting the end result across the line that mattered. Everything else was just a midway formality.
And then you were still only what, 26, 27?
By the time the project was finished, yeah. But in the process of wanting to get a skate park, I started and ran 3 businesses
Which were
simultaneously. So there was the Unit 13 skate park. Then we decided to start our own stunt team because
Okay.
we thought, well, how can we best showcase what we do in a way that people are entertained, inspired, and we can get paid for it? So up until the point at which I started the demo team, I was working for a demo company based in Dublin,
Yes.
and he would pay myself and a good friend of mine to go down and do tricks for his shows.
Very good. What should we get for that?
We'd be lucky if we got paid. We were so stoked to be involved. I think sometimes we got €80, sometimes we got €100, but we never went for the money. We only went because he had the best ramp in Ireland. We get to ride this. Okay, there's 2,000 people watching, kind of subtly hoping we're going to fall and mangle ourselves for their entertainment.
Yeah.
We were like, we get to ride Frank's ramp. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know.
And just on a wee side note, because I don't know you. Like this is just, you know, hot off the press. Like, how good were you?
Quite good. As far as Irish BMXers go,
yeah.
I would be up there with the people
Wow.
who've done really well.
And then so see when like these tricks, what was your kind of go-to trick? What was your favourite trick? What trick would you be known for? What did you love doing?
I would be a tail whip and bar spin person.
What the fuck is it? Tail whip?
So
bar spin? Bar spin.
You spin your handlebars around,
Yep.
and then a tail whip is you spin the bicycle around. So you take your feet off, spin the bicycle around, and then get your feet back on, hopefully, and land.
And how high would you be at this carry on?
I was never a height person.
Yeah.
So I would say that I would fall into the bracket of a technical rider.
Yeah.
So I would try
And skillful as fuck.
I would try and do a lot of explosive movements
Yeah.
rather than, I wouldn't be known by anybody for being stylish or going high. That's its own art form. You know,
Very good,
B.M.X
okay.
is actually quite varied.
Yeah.
You have people who would be classed as front brake riders. That's doing all sorts of tricks in the front wheel.
Mhm.
Then you'd have a tech rider, which is me. So I'm not going too high, but I'm doing very technically difficult things.
Yeah.
Then you'd have style cats who go high and fast. And then you have modern terminology as competition riders.
Mhm.
So you have people who only train pretty much to do a competition run to try and win.
Very good.
And that's sort of what the Olympics has drawn out of BMX. So there's a big portion of BMXers who now are athletes. They're not really BMXers anymore. They go to the gym, they're on health regimes, they have chiropractors and whatever, and they're flown around the world like golfers with people carrying their bikes.
So you would be a purist.
I am definitely a purist.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I can see that because you know across all the board, you've got these purists. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got like
a purist also looks after their bike.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Even today, I don't look like a BMXer, but I still ride my bike all the time, and not to the level I used to. But I can't imagine I'll ever stop.
No.
But a lot of the enjoyment, as well as riding, is making sure my bike looks good and feels good, and that's what I'm trying to currently pass on to the new generations of youngsters who buy a bike, thrash it to death, and when it gets punctured, they set it down, walk back into the Xbox. I'm like,
no.
Look after your bike, and your bike will
Look after you. Yeah, I love that.
And your parents will buy you parts if they see you're not trashing your bike.
If you look after the part.
Yeah, and imagine going to your dad and saying, "Dad, I need a 15mm spanner." And he's like, "Don't touch my toes." He's like, "No, this is what I need it for." And he's like, "Oh, here, I'll show you how to do that."
Yeah, you were that cat. You were that cat. You were in the spanners, weren't you?
My dad's a mechanic, so we
always. Oh, you weren't allowed to touch the
toes. We
always
had toes in the garage. No, we see. My dad had a garage at home, and then his actual workplace.
Got you.
So I go out to the garage at my parents' house, and there was every tool I could ever imagine hanging out, and he wasn't always there. So you're making me remind myself of the first time I ever touched my bike with a tool.
No way.
I grabbed a shifting spanner, and there was this nut on top of my stem. I was like, wonder what that does.
What's the stem?
The stem's what holds the handlebars on.
Got ya.
So it used to slide down into the forks, and then you would tighten these bolts and the handlebars would be held on.
Yep.
So there was this one nut on top.
Yep.
It's technically called a quill stem. So there was this bolt on top. I got a shifting spanner. I just start fiddling it, and then all of a sudden the handlebars come out, and I was in tears. I was like, "No,
what have I done?
I've ruined it.
I've murdered my bike.
I've murdered my bike." Man, I was distraught. I hadn't a clue, and thankfully my brother he's always handy with his hands.
Yeah.
He came out to the garage, put it back in, and just says, "Turn it the other direction," and he fixed it. And I was like,
"Wow,
right, that's powerful."
Yeah.
So pretty much from that moment, maybe 9 years old, I was
you
like,
were in the zone.
I want to do this. I want to take the wheels off, put them back on.
Is it funny? where our kind of destinies are formed. Like that's why I always like going back to the start. I'm glad you went right, because when you were 19 and you were doing all that, you know, stuff, that moment was actually formed when you were 9 and you'd murdered your bike.
Oh,
like,
yeah, dude.
do you know what I mean?
So I'll go back even further.
Oh.
So my dad has this mechanics garage, and back in the day, mechanics garages and places like that, they didn't actually have lunch rooms. They just had an area of the workshop where they would sit and eat. So there was this area in my dad's place, and I would go and visit. You know, I was super young, maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 or something, and I would call down with my mum, and I don't know, she'd maybe hand them sandwiches, and there'd be all the guys sitting there. There was this one particular time we went down, and on a shelf above my reach was a chrome B.M.X frame, and like a magpie, I was like, whoa, what's that?
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, let me see that. And he just goes, it's not yours, don't touch it. And I was like, I could just want to see it.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not yours, don't touch it. And I was like, I don't understand this. I just want to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's shiny and I want to touch it. Wasn't allowed to touch it. So I go home and I gave off stink to my mum. I was like,
How'd she do?
and I asked her
How'd she
so
do?
nicely. And all I wanted to do was see it, and I couldn't even touch it. Well, I think my birthday must have been like 5 or 6 weeks after that, and my brother presented me with that bike for my 9th birthday.
No way.
Yeah.
So your
And I
big
got
brother?
this, my big brother.
He seen you kicking off from the sidelines.
Well, but he was probably in agreement with my dad. Don't touch my stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I got this bike.
But he went out of his way to make that.
Well, I would say
happen.
mum pushed him.
Yeah.
sure.
But that's awesome.
But
to
there's
have a mum and a brother like that.
Yeah, so I got this bike for my 9th birthday, and I went straight outside, and I think I learned like 3 tricks in about an hour. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. Now, there was no plan. I wasn't like, how good can I get? I didn't know BMXing was a thing. I just had a bike, and I was like yanking on the handlebars, pulling the brakes, and I was like, did I get 2 wheels off the ground?
Yeah. Cycling with no hands.
Super exciting. And if I broke something on that bike,
Oh,
big time.
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't a new bike. This was a scrapper put together and handed to me.
Yeah.
I didn't. There was no such thing as new. It was just a bike.
You did not care one bit.
But when that broke, we didn't. There weren't any bike shops selling BMXs in 1997.
Or repairing.
We went to Clare Street Dump off the Beersbridge Road in East Belfast.
Class.
You walk in, you say to the guy, "Can we go over to the scrap metal?" And he's like, "Yeah, crack on." You go over to the scrap metal, have a look. Sweet BMX, pull it out. There's all your new parts.
I love it.
I must have done that for 4 or 5 years.
No way.
Yeah.
And you think of the fucking
Such
bullshit
good
now.
memories, like-
You think of the bullshit now where you have to make an appointment to go to the dump.
It's insane.
It's pathetic.
And even if somebody, for the sake of taking the piss, took
Yeah.
a brand spanking new bike to the dump
Yeah.
and set it there, you
I know.
cannot touch that
I
for
know.
insurance purposes.
I know. And you think of if that had been a thing in your day, like look at those memories, the nostalgic memories you have now, you know, of going and repairing your BMXs from the local, you know, dump.
wow.
Like,
Yeah.
fucking
Dude, it was like a treasure. You never knew what you were going to get.
Yeah.
Or even if it worked.
Yeah,
or if
yeah,
it was
yeah.
better than what you had.
I know. It's kind of, you know, is the world getting better or is the world getting worse? Like, you know, you think of those wee laws and rules changes, you know, like it's even harder now trying to be an entrepreneur, you know?
Dude, today's world, I know we're jumping way forward in time.
Yeah.
Today's world is so superficial, we are so distracted, we are so blind
Yeah.
because that there.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think the population of the world with a smartphone have dropped 2 inches in height from their fucking neck down that.
Oh, it's a real thing.
It shocks me.
It's that I'm guilty of, you know.
We all are.
I'm guilty of it for loads of different reasons. You know, obviously, you know, for work. You know, once upon a time, you used to run around delivering leaflets, you know, to drum up about a business. And the development of that is, you know, you do a Facebook post. And the reality of that is, if someone gets in touch with you with an inquiry, if you don't respond to them within a couple of minutes, they're off messaging the next carpet and upholstery cleaning guy.
Yeah.
And then again, if you reply and break rapport,
Mm-hmm.
oh fuck, you're a bastard. And then, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then they're off. And so you're locked in trying to reply quickly, keep rapport, and until you're across the finish line. And I'm locked in, like. And as human beings, like these fucking new phones are like, you know, what brightness are burning into our retinas like all day. It's an unknown animal at the minute. And I don't know where it's going to end. I just know that, you know, I'm locked in. I'm locked in whether I like it or not. Because if I was to my missus will give off to me sometimes if we've a holiday coming up or something. She's like, fucking turn your phone on. Because when I turn my phone off, sorry.
Yes.
Sales are down.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Christmas, holidays, whatever. And I'm like, I go home and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is look at that fucking phone. I'm tired. I can
And you get
feel.
messages at 10 p.m.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
then
shit.
2
Yeah.
minutes later, 3 question marks, and you're like, you
Oh,
expect an answer at 20 past 10.
Absolutely. And again, if you don't reply, you wake up tomorrow morning and message them. Oh, sorry, we've got that sorted. And again, if it's, you know, 11:30, 12 at night, and you do reply, then you're locked in. Because if you break rapport, you'll lose the sale again.
Well, I'm a serial break reporter for what it's worth.
And was that a skill you learned, or is that?
That's developed over time.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I think I touched on it in the last podcast. I'm getting there, and whatever will be, will be.
Mm-hmm.
If sales are down, sales are down.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's priorities then. You know, is it profit or fucking peace of mind? And I'm getting to the stage now where I'm wakening up tired, and that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wakening up tired. So if I have to go home, have dinner, turn the phone off, have family time, that's the way it is. I'll wake up tomorrow morning fresh and
And
we'll go
then you
again.
have business guilt
Oh,
to fulfill delayed family guilt.
It's fucking, that's real. That's a real thing. And you have to measure it. Do you have the guilt or do you have, you know what I mean? It's like all these emotions.
Yeah.
You know, and people say men aren't emotional. Holy fuck! From you wake up in the morning till the end of the day, and then you know, our partners. God love our fucking partners, because they don't realise if I don't connect these dots today, you know,
There's no follow on tomorrow.
There's
You're
no
starting
follow-on.
You're starting again.
I'm starting again. It's like I say I'm not present, you know, at home or present, you know, emotionally, with the family or whatever. I'm getting that rock to the top of that hill, and I need to keep pushing, because if I let the guilt kick in and then I go spend, you know, quality time, you know, with the kids or with the missus, the rock comes back in.
Yes, and if you're not ready for quality time, it ain't quality
It ain't
time.
quality time because I'm worrying, I'm stressing, my anxiety's getting the better of me.
I wish I had just had 2 effing minutes.
If I had been
sorted.
tough love, 5 minutes of tough love till I close this fucking sale, and then you're going to get the best of me.
Yeah.
As opposed to the compromised, guilt-ridden, fear-fueled me, because I'm here, baby, but I'm fucking worried about this shit.
I know.
You know, it's but yeah, that is behind the fucking curtain, real life thing for entrepreneurs. Like it's we've got this drive, which is sometimes too much, but at the same time, it's it can make things fucking awesome for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
If we could just manage the guilt a little bit, because the guilt's there, like. But yeah, our partners, you know, big shout out to your partners. We love yous.
Shout out to Carolina.
Yeah, shout out to Carolina. Thank you for letting the big man come on today.
I am not going to pretend that I am not very aware that I'm extremely lucky to have my partner.
Yeah, awesome.
She's Polish.
Nice.
They don't think like us.
No.
They don't talk like us. They don't prioritize or process information. They don't cook like us. They don't clean like us. You know, there's ups and downs, believe me. But
Tammy.
Do you know what? See, because she's not from here,
Yeah.
and she's not locked into all the traditions that we're scratching our heads about.
Yep.
I have made phenomenal progress in life from her feedback.
Well, it's true what they say. Behind every great man is a great woman. You know.
Or a great critique.
But
listen, she knows what I mean. I said to you before we started, my partner Carolina, my wife, has helped me execute the biggest and most important decisions of my adult life since meeting her.
wow. And that's business or just life?
Both.
Very good.
Do you know why?
Awesome.
She just bluntly calls me out.
Yeah. On.
Are you gonna be the guy that does what he says, or are
Yeah.
you gonna talk shit? And I'm like,
Class.
you can't not be fueled with like 1,000% rage.
Yeah. But you
So-
need that rage
Oh,
to
100%.
cut through your own fucking default wiring.
Big time.
You
So
know?
I was a people pleaser until she's. Now here's another funny story. I like telling this story.
Yeah.
Whenever my wife was my girlfriend and we were going out 3 months, I thought this is the best thing ever. She dumped me.
No way.
She said I was a pussy.
Ah!
I'm not even embarrassed, mate.
Ah!
I'm not. Do you
Put it
know what she did? Right? So we're sitting in her house and we're hanging out. And she says, I need to tell you something. I'm like, cool, what is it like? Are we gonna get a Hawaiian instead of a
Yeah.
pepperoni? And she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is great. And she's like, I just get the feeling you would do anything I say, and I can't be with a guy like that. I was like, dude, but this is important, right? So I was like, never again. Like, proper long-term memory formed, super emotional response, as Joe Dispenza describes it. And I changed that day.
Wow.
And I have never been that people pleaser again, ever, and I know it. And she knows it. Because if she asks me to do something, and I know she's maybe being busy, or she can't be bothered, or she doesn't want to get into it because she knows it's going to be deeper than what the superficial thing is, I'm just like, no.
So
I have totally learned how to say no, and she taught me that big step.
that's fucking awesome.
However, like a year after that moment, I was coming home from work from my third business, which was T13. And that was a monster of an indoor skate park
Nice.
that turned into another monster in itself. It turned into a hybrid venue, as my ex-business partners would call it, and I thought that was utter shite. You know, it was just very diluted, and I was coming home.
Didn't know what it was.
Well, I was frustrated because I always felt like I was holding up my end of the bargain.
Yeah.
I came in, what I was passionate about, what I cared about, and what I wanted, a standard level that I wanted to keep all my work at, I felt was being compromised in every way possible every day. And I was coming home and ranting about it.
Yeah.
And she just hits me with the, are you going to be the guy that does what he says?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to be a pushover? And I remember, I don't even know if I've been that angry before.
Yeah.
I was so angry. I wasn't going to hit her.
No.
But I was like,
Because she
I
was
could have bench pressed 200 kilograms in that moment.
Yeah.
I was so angry. I got in the car, drove straight down to work and said, boys, I'm out. I love it. And I was called every CUNT on the sun, you ungrateful, blah blah. And I thought, I didn't know it at the time, but years after, I thought, geez, I'm really scuppering their plans. I must be important if they're so upset about me leaving.
But they wouldn't give you your place, that kind of thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well,
they were riding on your
this
coattails.
is something that's very important that I think I need to say to guys.
Yeah.
If you're going to start something big and you need to get people involved, be extremely careful about having non-executive directors.
Yeah.
A non-executive director is somebody who you give equal power to you and your company,
Yep.
but they have no responsibility. So in that big business, which was phenomenal, people will never forget it. I still bump into people that say, man, T13 was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. And I'm like, I honestly don't even know you. There was so many people went to it. It had so much impact. It was such a big, whoa. It has a legacy that'll never leave us, which is class.
It's fucking class.
But it turned into a monster that made me absolutely hate waking up in the morning.
And yeah, and you find that.
But
you
I
find
didn't
that.
know it until the denial of the difficulty caught up with me.
And the difficulties were coming from other partners.
Other people making decisions not in the best interest of the organisation.
Yeah, not
So it got to a point where I was coming home
and
and
throwing more
inventing.
responsibility onto you, that kind of thing. And
It felt like, so we started as a skate park. That was all it was ever supposed to be.
yeah,
For the purposes of people listening, T13 is where We Are Vertigo is now in the Titanic Quarter.
yes.
So I had that entire 125,000 square foot building, and we started from extremely humble beginnings.
Yeah.
As in, we had to power wash it, the whole building, for
What?
3 months.
No way.
It was a grain store,
Yeah, cause I've been
and there
to
was
it.
maybe
Been to it.
3 inches of decomposed cow pellets rotting over the entire surface of the floor and all the way up the
You
walls
pressure washed that whole thing.
for 3 months in a hazmat suit
Stop it.
with no electricity and no running water. It was borderline impossible.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
insane.
It,
That's
it
a
is
true
insane.
behind the fucking scenes
If somebody
story, like.
just did that, and that's all free.
And that's even
There's
before
no
the doors
money.
open, like.
Yeah,
People don't
there was no
realise.
money in that. It was just like, I'm just excited to be involved in an exciting project.
Yeah.
Now, I probably had a ridiculous ego. I can't tell you because I just don't know. I don't remember how life was. I remember doing the work. I have no idea how I felt. It was probably easier not to feel to get through it because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
You know?
insane. Pardon
But
me
after
for the
I-
whole thing.
We did phenomenal things. You know, in that building, we filmed Rihanna's music video, We Find Love. The first B.M.Xer doing a trick in the white helmet, that's me.
No way!
Nobody knows, nobody cares. Doesn't
I
matter.
care!
But
That's fucking brilliant!
we had Rihanna in there, and we launched the Jaguar XF for Jaguar. We held MTV EMA after parties in there. We helped launch AVA Music Festival in there. I can't even tell you, dude, there was so much. It was just like project, more people, project, more people, more
Powerful.
people. So when I went in, it was myself and my business partner and his brother. By the time I left, there could have been very, very few paid staff. Very few. It was all volunteer, including the owners.
So where was the money going? How many
Dude,
people a year were going
talking-
through there?
Oh, 30,
Like
40,000 plus.
what was the
But, like,
rates on
you-
that thing?
Well, we got it for free.
Oh,
We were a
really?
charity.
Oh wow.
That was the charity that formed to get the concrete skate park for Belfast. And because we were having this big impact project, we were able to approach the Titanic Quarter and say, we have huge momentum, we're doing something that's never been done, give us this building and we will bring families into the Titanic Quarter and get them familiar with the area before
that was
that
the-
museum is built.
Yeah.
And that's all they needed to hear, and they were like, work away.
Work away.
There wasn't a 1 month lease or a 1 year lease. We could have been out
Right,
any
traffic.
single day, always. There was no security whatsoever.
No.
We had to plumb electricity in, we had to plumb water in, we had to reopen the toilet sewers because that building is the last remaining big shipyard building from the Titanic era, or slightly after the Titanic era. So,
Yeah.
not, like, it was derelict for 40 years. There was holes in the roof.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What about health and
buses.
safety? Did you have to
Yeah.
get health and safety in? Was there any?
Health and safety was
But-
8 hours a day, every day for 6 years.
You just waiting on something going wrong.
Risk management was permanent. And if it wasn't my job, it was Joey's. If it wasn't Joey's, it was Liam's.
So it was the
If it
3 years at the start.
wasn't- as far as I'm concerned, I had a business partner,
Yeah.
and with my business partner came his brother.
Yeah.
Didn't like it, didn't love it, didn't care because his brother was a grafter and
Yeah.
always will be. So shout out to Joey. Joey's
Yeah.
probably never going to see this, but I love him because we've done insane things together.
So I hear.
I feel like I've lived about 3 lives.
Mate,
with what I
honestly,
did in 5 years.
I believe that.
And
And we're only
I was very.
we're an hour in.
When I left, I was so bitter because I was like, I've done 90 hours a week
Yeah.
for 5 years straight for basic living expenses covered,
Yeah.
car insurance paid, 25 quid of fuel
So,
a week,
so how did you
4
arrive at
packets of
that point?
cigarettes, and that's it.
How-
There is no.
How did it end then? How did you arrive at the end of T13?
I went home annoyed, told my wife, my girlfriend at the time, she called me out and says, be a man, or fuck off.
Yeah. And then
As blunt as I needed to hear it,
you went
I went
there.
back into work and I says, boys, I'm out.
And it was because.
And I asked for, now, at the time that I moved out, we could have accumulatively owned a good £250,000 in assets.
Yeah.
We owned forklift trucks, trailers, IP, internet, laptops, cameras, bikes, ramps, caravans. We just accumulated.
Yeah.
And see, when you have 100,000 square foot, you can accumulate no bother.
Yeah.
You want to give away a forklift? Dead on. Bang. My brother fixed that. He's a mechanic. Blah, blah, blah. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger. When I was leaving, I walked in and says, I want £1,000 for every year we've worked together.
Yeah.
And the ramps that we own made of metal. And I got told to F off.
Wow.
So I went downstairs to the tool room where we kept all our tools because it's daily maintenance.
Yeah.
And I lifted a drill and a saw and walked out and never went back.
Holy shit.
And I didn't care. Now, I was angry for 2 years.
I'd say so. From an outsider looking into that story, there's a fucking injustice there.
But, you know, it doesn't
And
matter.
I know that you would have thoroughly enjoyed every fucking second of that. But do you think that you were maybe taken advantage of there?
100%.
You
Because
know,
I was a yes man.
and that's what I hear. And
Even in that partnership and with all the non-executive directors, I was still the youngest person in the room by 12 years.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wasn't married at that point, didn't have a kid at that point, had never ever earned living wage ever in my life. Because when you're an apprentice, you're on £3 an hour.
Yeah.
I left apprenticeship to volunteer, run a project, and then we started these other projects, and there just was not pay.
No.
Like people don't believe me when I say this, and I don't care because you know your truth and it's easy to speak it. The first year I ever earned real money in my life was 2019.
Yeah.
That's it. In my life. I was a bike mechanic in McConvey's on the Oma Road. That was my favourite job I've ever had, working for someone.
Yeah.
That was well paid for being young. My first well paid year ever was 2019, for 1 year. So, can you get involved in something you're passionate about and survive? Yes. Can you buy cars? Yes. Can you go on holiday? Yes. Will you see numbers accumulate in your bank? No.
I know.
But that didn't stop me doing anything.
No, it's that
So
magic
this is
formula.
what I kind of like about what I'm learning now, because I'm a very, very different person post-COVID, as is everybody.
Yes.
When you had that time to stop and think and start reading books, and all of a sudden there's all this fear mongering, you're like, I'm losing energy listening to that. I'm gonna go and find something else to listen to. I found positive messages. I found Joe Dispenza. I found Bob Proctor. I found books. I found local people who inspired me and seemed authentic, and I started listening to them and I started reading, and I was like, I actually like this.
Yeah.
I feel different. I think different whenever I do this. So how I think, act and feel now, I don't even know who I was for the first couple of years of Thunder Park, which we haven't even touched on yet. But that in itself was fueled by different motivation than T13, which was fueled by different motivation than Unit 13. So I was first fueled by ambition.
Yep.
Then it was probably ego and obligation.
Yep.
Then when I left and I took a 2-year break, I say a 2-year break, I was lost.
Yeah.
I entirely identified as my work. I was like, I built that, I named that, I picked the colour, I worked on the logo, everybody knows me from that, and now I'm exiled. It's like, shit, I'm nobody. I didn't know what to do. So,
and that was T13?
After I left T13, I was like, I don't even know who I am.
Yeah, I would imagine you weren't, but you probably felt soulless. You were like a vessel.
I was numb, man.
You were,
for ages.
Yeah,
so,
there was, you were numb.
But I didn't want to leave. Like, here's the thing, I'm not qualified in anything. But I have 17 years experience in urban sports. That's unparalleled. It's like, if I leave this now and do something else, I will regret it, because the compound effect of my knowledge and experience at this point in my life is invaluable. To any project I'm
and
gonna do.
unmeasurable. That's insane.
There's just no house or BM
I know,
to show for it,
I know.
and I don't care. And that shocks people to hear. My sister and brother are like, you don't own a house, you're 37, are you insane? And I'm like, your mortgage shows me you're stressed all the time. I don't want that.
Yeah. I know, that's what I was going to say. I wouldn't,
Listen,
I
it'll
buy
come.
into that.
I'm not stressed about it.
No?
I'm not doing anything just because anymore.
No.
I know I'm jumping all over the place here.
You're not?
But
there's no right or wrong narrative here.
To fill back in to the point I was trying to get to about motivation styles.
Yes.
So it was ambition, obligation, and ego. And when I left and gathered myself together after a 2-year period, there's a cool story in that, because there was a very instrumental man who, like my wife, hit me with a serious hard truth in front of a big group of people.
Let me hear it.
Well, I went into Thunder Park with fuck you energy.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You think I can't do this? I'm going to do it without you.
Yep.
And I did. And here's the funny thing. When I realised I achieved everything I did before and more on my own and on a monetary level, it's like my body went flat. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But it happened all at the exact same time as the contract ended. So the contract ended, I was like, I did it.
Yeah.
I was just like,
because
COVID made me think differently. I was like, why am I doing this? This is really, 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 really hard.
Yeah.
But it looks really successful. And this is where you can become a victim of social media success.
Absolutely.
Thunder Park looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was on TV. We had world famous YouTubers with millions of views uploading our facility.
Pursuing cyclists.
And the newspapers, anytime something's talked about B.M.X, they want to come down and take a picture in your place, and it's just like, F him, he's killed it. And it's like, oh, if you only knew.
Yeah, so what was your metrics of success then? You know,
I had subconsciously set myself a personal goal of doing an outrageously successful project without the people who made me feel like I couldn't do anything without them.
So you achieved that?
I achieved it, and as soon as I realised I did, I felt grateful for the determination, resilience and grit I had shown. And then I almost sort of gave myself a pat on the back, and I was like, I am not continuing to do this because I have a son who is extremely important to me, and my wife is extremely important to me. Now, they're not getting as much time as I would like them to have, but the power is within me to go, I'm going to continue to sink all my time and energy into a monster that will just keep taking. Or I can go, do you know what? That was sweet.
Because there's a famous book out at the moment. I would listen to a lot of audio books, and just what you were touching on there, I can't remember the author. You'd probably know, but the book's called Choose Your Enemies Wisely.
Okay.
And that fuck you energy, it's exactly that, you know. And I truly believe that, you know, people think that motivation comes from love, joy, and happiness. You know, see, one of the fucking biggest drivers is is that fuck you energy. It's spite. You know, it's enemies. Choose your enemy wisely, and you'll get an abundance of fucking energy to drive you to new heights. So when you're sharing that story with me, what I'm reading is, you need new enemies.
Well,
you get exhausted that well of enemy, you know.
But it has a knock-on effect.
Oh,
When I went into Thunder Park, I didn't know I was fueled with fucking energy.
Yeah.
I was excited about a new project. I was like, I'm
because
back
you
in
need
a project.
I
know how to do this.
Yep.
I know I will work 12 hours a day. I know I can do it. I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And that's also when I learned about manifestation.
Yeah.
So I had to pitch the project of opening Thunder Park to the N.irelands team, because I was in their building for the guts of a year, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And I had to design and draw and do financial projections again and again and again and again to satisfy what they wanted to hear to let me in.
Yeah.
But it forced me to think about it so much. I had a crystal clear vision in my mind of what it was going to look like. I just had to build it.
Yeah.
So, building the skate park, and here's another cool thing that nobody knows. I didn't have any money to do this.
No.
I had a mouth and I had will, and that's it.
And you had a vision.
And I had a vision, and I was like, okay, great. If they give me the space, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I went back to my parents, who are phenomenal people. They've given me a lot of freedom in my life.
Brilliant.
I think after I had the balls to leave shorts, they
Yep.
were like, okay, he's different.
Yeah.
We're going to give him a bit of space. Or at least I feel
Yeah,
like
let
my
him breathe.
parents give me space.
At least let them feel.
Yeah, they did.
You know?
So I got the deal across the line, and I got the go ahead for the skate park, which I never actually called the skate park. I called it an urban sports park.
Yeah.
That's just a wee personal bit of terminology I like to cling on to because it's important to me.
I know, I love it. And that was
So I went to my-
that
I went to
came
my-
from the extreme sports to the urban sport thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep that succinct.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to change the message for fad terminology. You know?
Yeah, trending.
So I came home to my parents, and I wasn't living at home at the time, and I was like, I want to do this big project. I know I can do this. This is the reason why I want to do it. What do I do? And Mum and Dad got back in touch with me the next day and says, we will give you our life savings if you will pay it back in 5 years.
Wow.
And I was like, ha! Risk taking that, no worries. Give me it.
How old were you then?
30.
30.
I signed the deal for
Yep.
opening that
Yep.
one day before my 30th birthday.
And you know, your parents had watched you from you were 19 doing that first park, adventure. Till yeah.
Well, I had become very close to my dad
Yeah.
during the process.
I'd say so.
Now, when I was a kid, he was like, you're into bikes, go away.
And that's the way it is.
You're not into cars and boats, I'm into cars and boats. We're not vibing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the hell, Dad? You know? And I have an older brother who is into cars and boats. So
He's a favourite.
I was the football kid who
Yeah.
then turned to a biker kid, and Mum's like, why are you wrecking your body? And Dad's like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And I started borrowing tools off my dad. And I was like, Dad,
Stealing them off your dad?
no, oh no.
No.
You wouldn't steal this man's things. You had to ask for everything.
Very good.
And I was borrowing tools off him. And he was like, what do you want that for? And I was like, because I'm building this thing. This was the very first skate park. We're all over the show here.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't matter.
when I was building the first skate park back in 2006, me and the lads, with blind enthusiasm,
Yeah.
started trying to cut 4x2 planks, hundreds of them. And you're just like, I haven't even cut one length in my arms
And
either.
you were fucked.
I don't think I
Yeah,
can do
the
this
dream
a
was
couple
nearly
times.
over there. The
So-
dream was nearly over there.
My dad's one of these people that he has everything.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you need.
Batteries,
Do you know what?
power.
He could probably have a fitting to fit that.
I'd say so. I'd say
So
so.
I went to him and I said, I need your chop saw, electric powered plank cutter.
Yeah.
And he's like, what for? And I says, I'm building this thing. And he's like, where is it? You see, I was so enthralled in this.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was coming home and feeding him feedback. I was just doing my thing, getting it going, you know?
It was different back then.
Yeah.
You know, like the summer holidays as a kid back in the 80s, and it was different.
Oh, you left the house for a whole day and came back when you were hungry?
Yeah. We went down just to fucking digress for a minute. We went down to the river, and we had built huts. And some of these huts were like fucking 2-story mansions, like. But you just went home, had your dinner, and fucking never thought about it. But yeah, sorry. So you were up for hours and hours and hours trying to build a skateboard fucking park, and
Trying to
coming
build a skate
home.
park. Came home and I says to my dad, I need a saw. He's
Yeah.
like, what for? I was like, because I'm cutting all these planks. He's like, what for? He's like, because I'm building this thing. And he's like, what is it? And I'm like, you don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Come and look at it. So he drove over in his Jeep to the building that we had rented. We'd already signed on the dotted line. Like the ball and chain was well and truly
Oh
ours.
jeez.
And all I needed was a power tool. And
Yeah.
he walked in the door, and I remember seeing his face, and he was like, that moment he had respect for me.
Yeah.
I knew it. because he
Fucking
taught to be
powerful.
different forever after.
Wow.
So he lent me his tools. He knew I needed it. Yes, I broke it, but I bought him
That's
a
for
whole.
another day.
But
But
ever after that, we have got on well. But I just don't really remember being connected with my dad before that moment. Before he knew, right, he's actually doing something. I don't even know if I could do this. You know.
fucking
And that's when my parents bought in. So I think all those years later, coming to them, and they were very upset about me leaving T13 because I unfortunately constantly went to them and said, "Dad, I need to borrow £1,000.
I know.
I'll pay you back."
I know.
And he's like, "You better pay me back."
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and he always did get paid back.
Yeah.
Then I came and asked them for 50 times more than I've ever asked for, and they were like, "Hold on a second, we don't have that."
Yeah.
So as far as I'm aware, they cashed in their teachers' pensions and gave me their life savings. That is ridiculous.
Wow.
And I spent it all
But
very,
that's
very fast.
a testament. I say you did, but I don't want to move on too quickly from that because that's a testament to your character. And
I still can't believe it.
I see. The older I get, the more I realise just how shitty people are. Unfortunately, and I've been down many roads, and a lot of those roads have led to me meeting shitty people. Statistically, that's just the way it is. So the older I get, the more I step away from people, unfortunately. So to hear that, you know, you've been trusted with your parents' life savings, you know, just gives me an insight into your character, like, you know, and I wouldn't want to just skim over that, like. That's fucking fair play to you, mate. The world hasn't fucking corrupted you yet. Beer time.
Bear time.
But yeah, no, I'm listening, buddy.
Well, I can't help really thinking that I have to give credit to them because you are a sizable portion of your parents.
Yep, you're
And
part of your environment.
I always got the impression, as much as I didn't really care what my dad did, you know, he was a mechanic and I was into football and bikes. I don't know anybody who's really got a bad word to say about him. Do you know what I mean? He had a very good reputation of being a good, thorough, honest mechanic. You give him your car, you will get it back fixed, and he's not going to rip you off. So
Yeah.
you kind of
But the apple.
you get familiar with that, and you're like, well, if he did that and that got good results, well, I need to do that.
Yeah, but so the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, like. You know. So you know, perception is projection. You know. So that's, you know, those qualities that you see in your dad are basically qualities that you have.
Well, that I hope to have.
Yeah. No, you definitely do, buddy. You definitely do. So we're at Thunder Park. Your parents will give you north of £50,000.
Yeah.
How quickly did you fucking blow it? In a respectful way, obviously.
2 months.
Jesus.
Now, here's the thing. I am as thrifty as they come. I don't waste anything.
No.
Like my dad, he takes pride in knowing that if I cut a bit of wood wrong, then I put it over there, and
And
there will
it'll
be a
get
day
cheaper.
when I need that for
Absolutely.
something. So, I mean, I also convinced 2 guys to leave their jobs and come and build this with me. Again, Thunder Park wasn't on my own. Somehow, I was able to convey the message of how important this facility is and what it's going to mean for us and what it's going to mean for the scene. To get Mikey and Joel to leave their jobs, well paid, secure jobs that they liked, to come and build this with me. And by the way, the only person building Thunder Park who had woodworking experience was me. Everybody else was like, this is how you hold a drill, this is how you don't strip a screw head, this is how you know the screw went into the wood or if it missed it. You know, this is how you do it.
So they were doing their apprenticeship.
They were doing the apprenticeship, and you know what? I reckon that is like serious lifelong brotherhood friendship from that.
That camaraderie is.
And I don't see those boys every day, but like
You
I will do anything for them forever.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
You know, a lot of years ago, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Whoa.
Yeah, I summited it in 2015 or something. But I different life events, blah blah blah, took me to that point where I felt I wanted to do that, and none of my peer group or anything were on the same page. It was just where I personally was at, and see, you know, having to just get on a plane, go to London, meet up with a group of strangers, fly to fucking Africa, and set off for 3 weeks into the wilderness. See that camaraderie, see that bonding process, see that journey that you go on. It's so fucking intense and heightened, because there's no other distractions. It's just you either like people or you don't. You get on or you don't. And luckily enough, I got on with every single one of them, and every single one of them got on with me, and we summited the highest freestanding mountain in the fucking world together. Like, do you know what I mean? So you see, when I return home, get stuck back into life, and social media, one of them pop up. That feeling of having a quick yarn with them before I get back to, my life, is special. It's kind of like what you were touching on, like you's fucking done it, like, do you know what I mean? Together.
Yet against all odds.
Against all odds.
And
even things were shit for your mate, you were there for him, and vice versa, over and over and over again. And see that there, that's fucking life for me. Like, there's all these, fucking feels and fucking preconceptions and fucking avatars of what life is. But see, when the chips are down, who comes to help, and vice versa, who you want to help in the that's I'll keep them to my grave. When I lay on my deathbed, one day those are the moments that are going to pop into my head, like, but that's how I can relate to what you were.
You're just grateful that
saying
somebody's willing to do it with you.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what their motivation is.
But
they're just there.
They're just there. They're meant to be there. Like, sometimes, like, there is no motivation. It's who you fucking are. It's like motivation.
Environment is enough.
Yeah, that's who you are, and you're with people who are truly them. It's like motivation. It's like my motivation to go to Kilimanjaro isn't that's what got me there, let's say. But whenever I'm, fucking short of breath, 19,000 feet up in fucking no man's land, and a guy fucking grabs me by the fucking scruff, because there's a bit called Stella's Point, and it's basically like the moon. It's like fucking grey sand. Right. And when you're fucking, I don't know if you've ever been truly exhausted, right? But truly fucking exhausted, and you take one step, and that's like a sand dune, and you come right back down again. And you're truly exhausted, and you basically leave camp at 6 in the morning, say 4 in the morning, because the sun rises over Africa at 6 in the morning, and it usually takes about 2 hours to go something stupid like
Blister.
Yeah, but it's minus fucking 40 at this point. It's correct me if I'm wrong, but there or thereabouts. It's better cold at this point, and it's like 2 hours, it's a 2 hour window to only go up like half a cave hill. Like, it's fuck all. But you have to understand, you've 50% less oxygen.
Yes.
It's dark, and it's a fucking sand dune basically, and your team are all fighting to get up.
Yeah.
And you're all supporting each other. And there is no going back. Like, there is no going back, and you need to convince the guy that you've just fucking shared 3 weeks with that if you fucking quit now, you'll regret it for the rest of your life, because you're nearly fucking there, because it levels out then.
You have to be really real with each other. With that
Real as
motivation.
fucking it.
Past humour.
Past.
Go on, buddy, you got it. It's like, I need to say something that's absolutely, definitely gonna make you move.
Yeah. You need to be real and genuine and touch that guy's fucking heart, like, you know. And everyday life, it's just not there unless you do what you and your friends did, like you go to war together. And that's what it is. Like, it's a different type of adversity. It's a different set of difficulties and problems and frustrations. But you know, you've done it together, like, you know, and that's my wee story of how I know exactly what you're talking about, like, you know.
So when I think back about that place, that's a very, very untainted, fond memory. Just grafting, working it out. Did we have 3D CAD drawings? Did we have? You know what I mean?
Did you have money to pay for the 3D CAD drawings?
Absolutely not. If I couldn't borrow it, lend it, or be given it, it was like what did without.
Yeah, you figured it out.
And a wee bit like what you were saying with this lovely shed here. We just start and keep going.
And that's what
I didn't order the entire wood for the whole project at the beginning.
No.
I didn't even know what I needed. But I knew what I wanted it to look like.
Yeah.
But I couldn't possibly, in my mind, build things I hadn't built. I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So we must have had 60 flipping trips to Glengormley to get wood from the only place that would give us payment terms. Thank you very much, Kirk.
Yeah, big shout out.
Mate, that guy is a serious, super sound guy who didn't have to be super sound to me.
Yeah.
He gave me payment terms, as in, you can take away £10,000 of wood.
Yep.
You owe me 10 grand. But he wasn't hiring me for it.
Very good. And what place does he own up in Glengormley there?
Samuel Kirk's Timber Yard. If you want timber, tiles, paving, slabs, go to Kirk. He is a gentleman. He's a proper gentleman in business.
So a lot of people wouldn't know then that he was basically, you know, a big part of Thunder Park.
If I wasn't getting supplied wood from him, it would not have happened. Wow. And I've told him that to his face.
And I see that alone, that little snippet there, you know, that's fucking, that makes this podcast worth it. Like, you know, people don't realise how many outside factors it takes to create something like.
Yeah.
Like, that man probably maybe never got a shout out, and he created, you know, he was a big.
We bought all the wood off him for T13 as well.
Do you know what I mean? For as well.
Oh yeah, that guy.
He's like a fucking
north of
hero in the urban sports world, like.
I'm not sure how many people are buying 100 grand of wood or more, but we did.
You're lucky you didn't
and
do
it
it.
was all. Listen, I think he could tell we were being real with him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll get people coming in saying, "Oh, can I pay that off?" And you're just like,
"Yeah, you can read.
I can see in your Instagram you're drinking that and eating it. Just fucking pay for it."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just told him where I was, what I wanted to do, and I needed him to buy into my vision, and he did, and I couldn't believe it.
So there was
and he never gave me shit, and I don't know him a penny, and we're both very happy to have done it together.
And again, you only met him through approaching him, talking to him about your project.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like it has a special place in his heart. You don't give a toss when I'm doing it. He's got wood to sell, and he wants someone to buy it. And I'm trying to get him into the way of thinking of, I'm doing something really important to me. It's going to benefit people.
Yeah.
And we will pay you everything we owe you when we can. And somehow he was here, super important. We got talking to the buck stop.
The buck stop?
The buck stop. He's the owner. The buck stop's with him.
Yeah.
It's not like his secretary or his number one.
Yeah, there was no
gatekeeper. No gatekeeper. Don't know how we did it. We fluked it. I think we just walked into his office by accident.
Yeah.
Who are you? I'm Kirk. Oh, your name's above the door. Sweet. Right. This is what we
do. Me.
Yeah, and it worked.
Brilliant. So we are at the start of Thunder Park. Your parents have given you north of 50 grand. You've blew it in a couple of weeks buying wood.
Yep. And paying boys a £5 an hour.
£5 an hour.
And I would only pay them for 8 hours a day, but we always did 10. So there was always 2 freebies a day.
Very good. And then they all added up.
And they added up, yeah.
And then
But they were building their job.
Yeah.
So Mikey, who worked on the project with me, shout out Mikey, love you mate. He became the manager of Thunder Park.
Yeah.
And he is a phenomenal gentleman of a man. Nobody in the world can have anything bad to say about him. He is
Very good.
a proper lad.
Yeah, salt of the earth.
Salt of the earth. Looks after his mum, that type of fellow, you know. He built it with me, he ran it with me, he did everything with me, and I'm so grateful to have him. I'm not sure if it would have been just as special if he wasn't there.
Yeah, I love that.
He never gave me grief, he never pushed me, he never asked me for a raise, nothing. He made it easy for me to give him a raise.
Yeah, salt of the
Because
earth.
he was super great. Joel was great. Dave was great. Jason was great. Anybody else? My dad came down. Now here's the funny thing. My dad's one of these guys. He used to be a woodworking teacher.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And he built half of our house, bought it as a wreck, fixed it up, did all the work himself. You know what I mean? Madness in today's world. But he spent 20 years. Our house. My parents have owned our house 40 years. It's nearly done.
Yeah, I know. It's an ongoing project.
So we're building the park, and I know how to build ramps because I've done it before.
Yeah.
And I've travelled around Europe and got underneath with a tape measure and took pictures and be like, yeah, that's a cool way to build ramps. I'm going to do it like that.
Very good.
But I had to get him down to build the handrails and the steps.
Okay.
Because that's like proper joinery. And I didn't know how to do that.
It's like baking a cake. You know how to bake a cake, but you don't know.
It's a bizarre thing to say.
You know how to
there is
make ramps out of wood, but
there is an impression. Yeah, there is an impression that I would be good at woodworking. I don't know. I've never done miter joints.
Fucking ramp.
Well, you sort of overbuild it, but you see, there's so many complexities to it. So ramps are curved.
Yeah.
Now, how many different sizes of circle are there? There's everything from nothing to infinite. But you need to know what that curve is, and it has to be perfect to send you up in the air and not push it out onto the deck. Not too steep, not too mellow. The belly has to be right, has to meet the
And
floor
support
right.
the landing.
So I know how to do that.
Awesome.
Can I hang a door? Not a chance.
No.
No.
That's where your dad comes into play.
And this is where my wife gets awful confused and frustrated at me. I need you to do a basic bit of joinery, and I'm like, I don't know how to do it.
No. They're what do you call it? Like job specific or skill specific or something?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, if you can fix a car, can you fix a JCB?
No.
I don't know.
I know.
It's kind of the same but different.
And was Thunder Park like an ongoing project, or was it right? All those ramps are sorted. You know, did you ever get to enjoy the process, or was it up until the end just like
It was constant.
Just
It was
constant.
So
Constant development in a good way, or
constant development.
wow.
Now, was it naivety? Maybe. Could we have saved 30, 40, 50,000 of reinvestment we didn't need to do? Probably. But this is what happens when you're passionate.
Yeah.
You're like, I seen that kid nearly land that trick, but if that ramp was 2 inches bigger, he would have got it.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the week, Mikey, we're doing maintenance day. Go to timber, go to Kirk, get timber, come down, make the ramp 2 inches bigger. Kid goes back in. Whoa, that ramp's better. And we were like, yeah, the ramp's
So
better.
you
We kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And doing it.
Yeah.
To the point
that
where
was worthwhile.
we never stopped tweaking it.
Yeah. That was worthwhile.
All you got to do is go onto the Instagram and look at it and just flick back through the pictures. Oh, it's different there. It's different there. Like, we're already talking like 1 or 2 months. It was different every 1 or 2 months. And we would bring people in, we'd sit them down, and we're like,
Give me 2 seconds, Mathew.
are you doing that?
Pit stop.
Well, I need to. But I'll have to. Relief. Glad you did,
Yeah.
because I was trying to be good.
I know.
I was like,
So what will be in as well? There's Wilkin. We. All the sound equipment needs that. So we'll just chop it at a certain point when you stand up.
yeah, class.
Chop it up.
I'm not going to go on all over the show.
That's fine. That's what I'm saying. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. There's no right. There's no narrative. There's no agenda. There's no topic. Just talking. But that's where the conversation goes. That's where it goes. I'm enjoying it.
Thanks, man. You know what? I haven't talked about this in that way because I did a podcast during lockdown with a guy from LinkedIn,
Okay.
and he was talking to me about the struggle in the middle of the struggle. And I told myself I'm never going to watch that because that's not me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas I'm talking about stuff now because I'm at peace with it and it's fun to talk about because I'm like, yeah, that was mental. Fuck, I'm glad it's not mental.
I know. You're in a different space. But that's why I prefer it just natural. You know, I see if I try to have like a structure or a framework or a sequence to all this. That's not me. So I can't be authentic. And you know, I far rather have a yarn than beer. You know,
And that's what we're doing.
and that's what we're doing. And I think that captures.
Tell me Domino's is coming.
Yeah. I know that can be arranged. But I think that captures something better. You know, it's what we
No, this is really nice.
Yeah, cool. That's we were chatting on the phone. I said, yeah, I'm building up, you know, like business friendships here. My network. And there's no point in me building up a network of business kind of friends if it's built on bullshit.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know about you, man, but like, I feel like what I've been through, my bullshit radar is on absolute fucking high alert.
Yeah.
See when
I'd say so.
you know you're talking, somebody's talking shit, I'm just like, please stop.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man, just
Enough's enough. Don't get the bumpers.
you're awful good talking about something that doesn't mean anything to you, you know?
Yeah,
Here's me sitting fucking loving B.M.X and you're just like, what is it?
I know,
Is that like uncomfortable mountain biking?
I know, but it's the same as we're back in the room. I do jiu-jitsu.
Nice one.
Do you know what I mean? And my missus, I have her head turned because
Practice now.
yeah. and even just, you know, she'll if I'm in the living room and I get my hands on the remote, I'm putting YouTube on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching, you know, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand like the jiu-jitsu process, watching two guys, it's not like fighting per se, you know, where people are trying to punch each other. You know, the strategy is to punch the other person and their strategy is to punch you back, and it's kind of obvious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the jiu-jitsu process, you know, if you don't know it, you'll not really figure it out what they're trying to do.
Okay.
If you know what I
Is
mean.
it like grappling with etiquette or something?
Well, it's basically take down, pass guard, secure dominant position, and tap, nap, or snap. You know, that's your submissions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you're like my Mrs. Palmy, and these two guys are rolling, maybe just, you know, grabbing each other standing up, and then they're on the ground rolling about, and then, you know, securing a dominant position, or, you know, it's all alien to her. So there's no reward in it for her to watch it. Whereas if I get the remote, I'm doing 5 hours because I understand what they're both trying to achieve.
Yes.
You know, and they're getting it. They're nearly
when
getting.
someone's doing well.
I know when even the point structure of it. You know, it's like fuck right, okay, he's 2 points up here. You know, because it's also a sport. You know, but again, you know, I can relate to your passion. Don't have to give a shit about B.M.X. And my wee passion is my wee hobbies, and you know, and that's the way it is. You don't have to really give a shit about jiu-jitsu, like, but
well, my son's just started it.
No way.
So I am so stoked for him.
Yes, that's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. You can be stoked for someone like.
Now here's the funny thing. He goes to jiu-jitsu on my bike night. So me, 37, wife, don't talk to me on Thursdays. I'm coming home at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work, and then I'm gonna have fun, and then I'm coming home. So he goes to jiu-jitsu on Thursdays, and I usually miss it.
Yes.
However, I went last Thursday because I was kind of taking the piss with these long days and all these ambitious plans that keep going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know what? Okay, I'm not gonna ride on Thursday. I'm gonna go home, go to jiu-jitsu, see what it's about, and then be with the family.
Yeah.
And I went, and that must have been his 7th or 8th week, and he was with the group doing all this stuff. And
Oh,
I'm like, I've never seen my kid do that. That is so cool. My mind was blown. I just wanted to pick him up, give him a hug, and say, "You wee legend."
I know you wee legend, yeah.
Because he's getting it. Do you know what I mean?
And that's
So
the same.
cool.
It's the same as you're BMXing. It's like how much time, effort do you put into getting that trick?
It is ridiculous.
And then when you get it, then you can maybe just do it all the time. But that buzz, that fucking buzz, like that I'm sure you experience, it's the exact same with jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu's fucking hard because your opponent doesn't want you to take them to the ground. He's also trying to take
It's a permanent struggle for your success.
There's no progress without struggle, you know. It's a constant struggle. He's trying to take me down, I'm trying to take him down. He's trying to pass my guard, I'm trying to re-guard and pass his guard. He's trying to fucking pin me. He's trying to secure a dominant position on me, well, side control, mount, fuck it. And then I'm trying to escape and then start and trying to fuck and strike it, and then. But see whenever you kind of get it and you find your own wee process, like there's many different ways to take down. Some people will focus on judo or wrestling to achieve the takedown, you know. And then whenever you find, you know, what kind of like your favorite takedown, and you can execute it, you know, without thinking. You're already thinking about passing guard when you took them down.
Yes, you've gone from a single move to a sequence.
And then you can do the whole sequence, you know, take down, pass guard, secure dominant position, choke, you know, and then whenever you do that for the first time, it's like holy fuck, you know, and there's so many failures, mistakes, frustrations in the process.
Yes.
Until you know you find your flow, your rhythm, your thing. Like some people will gravitate more towards kimuras, some people will gravitate more towards, you know, footlocks, or you know, all roads lead to the back, which you know, UFC, you know, you like McGregor was, you know, finished by Nate Diaz with the rear naked choke. McGregor's era was finished with Khabib with the rear naked choke. That's all jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? So all roads lead to the back. You know, people will learn, or that's their thing. Whereas, you know, like Danaher, he'll say, well, why are you leaving 50% of the body off the table? Go for the fucking legs. Do you know what I mean? So that's my wee passion. You know, I get a kick out of that. I get a kick, because my brain never stops. You know, so I'll learn something in class, only maybe learn a wee bit of it, and then I'll forget it. But I'll go straight home and I'll get YouTube up and I'll go blah blah blah. Rewatch it.
It's the same with B.M.X. you see a trick, or you see somebody do something, you're like, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
And then you talk to the guys, and they're like, did you see what he just did there? I'm like, yeah, Jim Selinsky did it in props 41 at the Toronto Metro Jam section. You're just like,
Yes.
watch,
Mhm.
rewind,
Yeah.
watch, rewind,
Yeah,
watch.
yeah.
I have done that, and then gone down and executed. And whenever you watch, learn, try, achieve, it's just
Yep.
like,
That buzz,
Makes
it's addictive.
indescribable.
It's addictive. It's a crazy buzz. So, do you think entrepreneurs are all the same?
Definitely not.
No.
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 You see, this is the weird thing, right? People call me an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I get asked to go and talk about entrepreneurship
Yes.
in colleges and stuff. And I'm kind of saying to the room, I was like, right guys, I'm not your typical entrepreneur. I work on passion projects.
Yeah.
You might want to get into business for money. I've enjoyed what I've done so much. If money came along, happy days, but it's not why I'm there.
Yeah.
And it confuses everybody, including me.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of like, at what point am I gonna do the money thing? And this is what's important for me. I only learned recently that whenever you are manifesting something,
Yeah.
you have to be extremely accurate and specific with what you want.
Details.
I wanted Bridges Skate Park.
Yeah.
I didn't want a job, I didn't want pay, didn't want a laptop, didn't want a car. So what did I get? I got the skate park and nothing else.
Yeah.
Whenever I wanted T13 to open, I wanted excitement, I wanted projects, I wanted a cool place to ride, I wanted
Your
an
ego
ego,
massaged.
I wanted my ego massaged. I think I got all of that,
Yep.
didn't get paid.
Yep.
Didn't see it, didn't look for it, didn't ask for it. Moved into T13, was excited about it, I had a vision in my mind, I went after it, I wanted my friends and people who had dedicated themselves to building it with me to have jobs. They all got jobs.
Yep.
Did I see myself well paid? No. Did I get well paid? No. Now, lockdown happened, started changing my thinking. Then I decided to close the business, and that was my decision.
Yeah.
And I have guilt from that. So, as I said to you maybe an hour ago, I had all this fuck you energy,
Yep.
and I was like, I'm doing this. It came up on me all of a sudden. I was like, I went to my accountant, got the books, I looked at the number, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not on my shit because I didn't know that. That's impressive. And right there and then I was like, you did it. What you wanted to do after you left that hateful scenario,
Yep.
you've achieved it. You just got your pass stamp on your whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just felt different about it from that moment onwards. And then, always difficult to do. There was never an abundance of anything.
No.
It was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're doing this to do that, and, you know. And I always made the sacrifice, and I'm going to networking events and I'm reading things and I'm trying to follow the script, and it's like, always pay yourself first.
I
And
know.
I was like, I've never done that,
I know.
so I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
But when I decided that chapter had to close, and
Yep.
I was okay with that,
Yep.
I'm disappointed that so many passionate people, like the younger version of myself, were disappointed that their favourite place had to close. But there are so many complicated factors that were out of my control. I had to, at that point, go, it's best for me for that to close.
Yeah.
So it did. Now that I'm reading books, very similar to what William was telling you on his podcast, Power of Awareness, Born Rich, Think and Grow Rich.
Rich
Rich
Dad,
Dad.
Poor Dad.
That's the first book I ever read,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
and I listened to it as an audiobook and read the words, and I was like, huh, my dad has a poor dad mindset. That was what I took away from that book. My whole life, my parents were like, we can't afford it. Didn't matter what it was, we can't afford it.
I know.
See, when I became an adult and needed to borrow money, yeah, no worries. I was like, well, why could we never afford it now? When I don't want it, it's all good.
I know.
Weird.
I know. It really is.
By the way, this conversation happened today.
No way.
My parents and my sister are trying to jointly buy a house together to be a family, a holiday home that they will share between their families.
Yes, very good.
And the bid went to a certain number. I'm on the phone to them, driving here
Yep.
with the hands-free.
Ah.
My sister, I was like, did you get the house in the area where my mum grew up? Super special place there. no, we got outbid. I was like, how much is it? She told me. I was like, go an extra 7.
Yeah.
And then she's like, but don't have the money. And I was like, fuck the money, sell
Well,
shit.
get it.
Just get it. I was like, take a risk.
Yeah.
And then my sister puts me on loudspeaker and says, say that to mum. And I was like, do you want that or not? She goes, yes, I do. And I says, well, pay for it. Pay over the odds. If
So
you want
it
it,
is.
get it. Just get it.
Yeah. Like Ross Porter would say, faith it till you make it.
100%. You see, I understand that now.
Get in that space. Then figure it out when you've got your.
Totally.
Yeah.
You don't know how much you need until you decide you need it.
Absolutely.
That's what Bob Proctor talks about.
And the ways of getting it will present themselves
Yes.
when you're quantum leaped into that fucking space.
Or how else would I have got to travel the UK, Europe, and experience all I've experienced with
Yeah.
no wage?
No.
It just came
It
along.
presents
I
itself.
sold a bike wheel.
Yep.
Somebody gave me an extra £100 for my birthday. Whatever. It just worked. So I'm trying to say to them, take a risk.
Yeah.
Don't play it safe. Mum and Dad are always playing it safe.
I know.
They're always last. We're always first. I'm
I
like,
know.
I'm an adult.
I know, stop it.
Yes, stop it. Go on holiday. See the world. Do
Yep.
something nice for yourself.
Yep.
And they would do it. And I sent my sister a message and I was like, just bid up to that number. Just go.
And that was
Get
just
it.
tonight on your way
Yeah, on
here.
the way here.
Very good.
Because I have taken risks all the time. I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm reasonably
And
healthy.
you've a hell of a
Feel
story
good.
to tell.
I wouldn't change it.
Did you get the house? Did you get the house?
I'm not gonna know. Sure, I turned the dad off.
Ah, you turned it off. That's
I was
right.
like, I'll deal with you when I'm done.
Well, let me know, because that's awesome. I hope they get
I
it.
hope they do, but you know
So,
what?
yeah, buddy.
I would have went for it.
Oh, I know you would.
But it's taken me to be listening to the audiobooks again and again and again and again and again, and I'm like, oh, I've heard that message from that book. I've heard that message from this fella. This
Yeah.
isn't new information. This is recycled and regurgitated.
It's
Because a lot of people know
Well,
the theory of
it-
manifestation and how you get things works, but it's how do you receive the message?
yeah.
Because there's apparently there's 3 different ways to speak. You
Okay.
can speak loud and openly,
Yep.
and that grabs people's attention. You can speak calmly and monotone, or you can speak softly. Some people like messages given to them softly, like how doctors give you bad news,
Yeah.
or how a manager at a football pitch screams at you, and you're just like, right, okay. Or
Okay.
you know, sometimes you're listening to an audiobook and it's quite monotone. It's not up, it's not down. It just is the way it is,
Yeah.
and you like to hear things a certain way. So there is a lot of the similar information being said with different words that mean the same thing by different people. And I've now heard, listened, and read enough to go,
They're all talking about the same principle.
I kind of get it.
Yeah, I was the same when it came to marketing. I'd have maybe my 5 favourite authors in marketing all talk about the same thing.
Mm.
So then I was like, it's everything.
It's just packaged
Ev-
differently.
it's just
so they can
packaged
put a
different,
new cover on
but
it.
it's the same principle.
Yes.
So whenever I heard my 5 favourite authors talk about the same fucking thing, I then understood that it was the same principle. Principles don't change. Principles are forevermore and will forever be.
Mm.
Principles are principles.
Yep.
You can package them differently, and that's how different authors, tell their story. Blah blah. But it's the same principle,
Mhm.
and it's the same as what you're touching on. It's executed the same way, but we all have our favourite authors
Yes.
because we like how they word it and
That's
the
right.
tone or the octave that they deliver it in.
Yes.
But it's the same fucking message.
And do you notice when you like I'm a big Audible fan.
Me too,
I have a
me
massive
too.
library there.
Me too.
And I actually like to geek out and have the paperback copy. So when I want to go
Yeah,
back,
I've
and get
only
a
done
message,
that a couple
I
of
can
times.
read it.
Yeah, I with a few of my favourites.
But have you ever downloaded an audiobook and you're just like, oh no, can't listen to this person, don't like that voice?
No, and I tell you why. I'm so passionate and hungry for the content. I don't really give a shit about the tone or the octave or the pace that it's delivered in. I want the information, and I'm the same with food. I can eat for nutrition as opposed to flavour.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Well, I can't.
I know, and I say that because
It's getting there.
yeah, I say that because I've had the same conversation with people and I'm like, just fucking eat it. Just fucking eat it. That's 5 fucking pieces of fruit in one go. Down the fucking hatch and then go do whatever you want. Eat your pizza or just pint of water, eat down with a smoothie, take your multivitamins, and get on with your fucking day. I can't, and I don't understand it because I'll get up in the morning and I'll be like, I fucking hate. You buy fruit and veg and it goes out of date the next day. You buy fruit and veg and you go down for breakfast next morning and it's fucking green. What the fuck? So what I do is, I'll have my blender and I'll put, I don't give a fuck, I'll put a tomato in, a banana, 2 mushrooms and a half a fucking cucumber.
Now that is gross.
Because I don't give a fuck. I look at the nutritional value of it and the waste value of it. You know what I mean? So I just down the fucking hatch because I know that I'm getting some nutrition from it as opposed to buying all that fruit and veg and then only getting half used and then binned.
Yes.
I can stomach it per se. I don't find it. My brain just sees the nutritional value.
It's funny, you know, you can change how you receive food with your mindset.
Yes.
So you can decide whether something disgusts you or not. You have overcome mushrooms, fuck that.
I know.
You're just like, okay, I've made something, I can drink this. Tasting it's not
I'll
important.
tell you
but
something.
the benefits
I'll
of
tell you
it
something. Yeah,
are
I'll tell you
better.
something even weirder. I can only eat mushrooms sliced. I can't eat them whole.
Yeah, me too. This is like an eyeball.
Do you know what I mean?
So, having lunch with my parents today.
Yeah.
Got a fry. Dad's like, I'll take your mushrooms. And I was like, I don't want mushrooms. And he's like, I want them. Why do you not want them? And I was like, because it's like eyeballs. It's disgusting.
I'm the same. I need them sliced.
But yeah, chop it up and give it to me and anything.
No problem. And I'm the same with Audible. If I'm scrolling through and I think, right, I want that book, I'm so happy to have the content from that book. That's all I'm hearing. It's all I'm listening for. Is to hear, you know, a new take on a marketing principle or whatever. I don't mind the tone, the octave, the pace.
Yes.
I just give me
Yes.
the information.
And is that like educational content?
Absolutely, always. It's always educational.
I'm just thinking, is it maybe the type of information you're hearing?
Well, it's so important to me. You know, like once upon a time when I started in business, it was like, right, I've got my business, and then it's like, well, you know, I need people I need people to know that I can clean their carpet and upholstery. So then it was like, right, well, I need to be good at sales in it. So then it was like Audible books on sales, and then I was like, so I've got my business, I'm fucking shit hot at sales. Still no people. You know what I mean? And then it was like, right, got my business, shit hot at sales, I need to know marketing. I need to get people to get in touch with me. Then I can sell to them. Then I can do a quality fucking job at the right price at a convenient time for them.
The actual bit you want to do.
Yeah.
Aye.
But it's that in itself is fucking 10 years.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Have you read Life Leverage?
No.
By Rob Moore?
No. Oh well, I know Rob Moore. Yeah. I know his stuff. I've never read his books. So.
Well, I read it through recommendation of a Belfast entrepreneur called Gavin Wall that a lot of people will know.
Yes.
I like Gavin because he swears and he's funny.
Yeah.
And he did a podcast.
Brilliant.
And all of the books I bought that I got started with were from listening to his podcast.
Very
and
good.
it was funny, and he would talk about the haters.
Oh
And
yeah.
they were all from Dickhead Island.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that stuff, and it's just funny.
But true.
But he says that he was being mentored by Rob for a while, and he talked about Rob's book, and I downloaded it on Audible.
Yep.
I think it was the second book I listened to on Audible, and it talks about focus on what you want to do and delegate everything, absolutely everything.
I struggle with that bit.
It could be to AI, it could be to a virtual assistant, it could be set up an account on Fiverr, and if you really pay attention to how these things work, you can put up information of things you're looking for. I need someone who can manage my calendar. I need somebody who can phone clients back with an English accent. I need somebody who can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he talks about how all this life leverage stuff. So I came back from lockdown and I thought, I'm applying this.
Yeah.
Told all my team up to the office.
Brilliant.
And we're quite a big team at the time. I like this story because I was inspired enough to take action, and that was a pivotal thing that I'll never go back from.
Yeah.
So
once you know, you know.
I brought everybody up to the office and they were like, I don't know what they expected. I don't know if they expected a pay rise or a pizza or a flipping someone's getting sacked. I don't know. But I brought them up and I'm like, I think I know what I'm doing here. I had this big whiteboard and I drew lines and I wrote Jason, Dave, Johnny, William, Susie, Ryan, Maggie, and me.
Yeah.
And I put a line on it and was like, right everybody, grab a pen, walk up to the board and tell me what your job is.
Yes.
So they wrote down their job, and then I had this bit covered up, you know, with a bit of, I had already written a load of things, and I had it covered with a bit of paper so they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And then, after they had written the list of what they had done, I had then uncovered, as far as I was concerned, everything.
What their job was?
No, all jobs that involve running the business.
Okay.
So when Thunder Park opens and closes, every single thing that happens between that goes on the board.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you've got all these things, but look at all the stuff you've missed. And then I asked everybody, while they're all sitting together, nice and uncomfortable, like,
Yep.
right guys, what's my job?
Yep.
And they're all looking at me like, well, you're gonna tell us. And I says, I've got 2 jobs. It's my job to market and network the place,
Yep.
and I pay the bills.
Yeah.
I don't do anything else.
Yep.
I don't help with maintenance.
No.
I don't do the rota.
No.
I don't whatever. And it was in that moment that everybody, now I got mentoring during lockdown,
Yeah.
and the mentor, Phil Martin, shout out, love you. Phil said to me, do you realise you do your job and a portion of everybody else's? First time I'd ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Made sense to me instantly, because I was like, yeah. He's like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I'm too passionate about it. I want to make sure it's right. I care what the customer thinks because I know how I want it to be. And
Trust.
when I pulled everybody up to the office and I said, guys, I have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
My work is done. I don't build anymore. I don't coach anymore. I don't serve customers anymore. I don't do orders. I need to pay the bills and I need to go and speak to people and get people in and be the voice of the organisation. You know, on a networking capacity.
Yeah.
You know, meet principals, meet councils, whatever. The stuff I like to do. From that day forward, up until we closed, we had never worked better. But I didn't know that until one, I heard how life leverage breaks down, not feeling the need to be in control and do everything yourself. You have to delegate. I'd never done it as well as that, but I also needed to hear the words come out of somebody's mouth to say, you do your job and a portion of everybody else's. Why are you doing that? My team would never ask me that.
I know. Bit of clarity too.
Dude, clarity's the nicest thing in the world. Who doesn't want clarity?
Yeah.
I said those words to Ross earlier on. It's on the phone. Who doesn't want clarity? Go and get it. By whatever means necessary.
Yeah. And then you know, you obviously respected your mentor there. Your coach.
Massively, because he told me.
Had he been there and done it?
No, but he's a very methodical, organised person who can very calmly deliver bad news.
Very good.
That's how I took it. And,
Yeah.
and he has a lot of experience dealing with hardship.
Yeah.
You know, and he explained it to me, and I just instantly had a level of respect for him. And I'm just like, anybody who's gone through what you've gone through, salt of the earth.
Yeah.
And I like salt of the earth because I surround myself with him.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what I was touching on earlier.
And it was a lot easier for me to take his information because I was like, well, I respect you. So if you're saying that, well, I'm going to do something about it.
Yeah.
You know?
So tell me this. We've been to the 9-year-old in the workshop with the B.M.X. Not allowed to touch it. And then we've been to the 19-year-old that I still can't get my head around it, but was the driving force for Northern Ireland's first skate park?
First
outdoor concrete skate park at 19. And then we've got bitter fallouts at T13 around 26, 27.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got your parents giving you their life savings
Still can't believe it.
for Thunder Park.
Yeah.
So the
I never told anybody that, but you know what?
Well,
I
it's a
love
good
them
deal.
enough. You know what I mean? Like,
That's a testament to
It's
who
a
the fuck
nice
you
wee,
are.
it's a nice wee myth buster.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Absolutely.
How the fuck did this come about? I ain't
There
got
you
shit.
go.
I took their everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I got back some of it.
So the final question is, what does the future hold?
So I am very glad to currently be in mentoring that I want with somebody I want directly working on me, and I promised myself after I closed the park that I will not commit to anything
Yep.
new until I absolutely decide what it is and how I want it.
Yeah.
So that's for me learning
And
the power of awareness. You're born rich, you have to be specific. And I'm like, okay, time to reflect, Matt. What did you do? I wanted this, but I didn't ask for that, so I didn't get it. I wanted this, but I didn't ask for that, so I didn't get it. And I'm just like, okay, 16 years in,
Yep.
I can do big projects. I can knock my balls in. I can work
Tried
out
and tested.
like frick.
Done. T-shirt worn.
Can I get paid? Not yet.
So the future holds.
I am
Profit.
absolutely only working strategically, specifically in my strength and power areas, and I have joined mentorship with a really super cool, amazing woman.
Do you want to give her a shout out?
I do. Jennifer Cody. So Jennifer Cody is a student of Bob Proctor from Waterford.
Very good.
She has a lot of knowledge of business. She's very spiritual. She's very clued in. She reads me like a book.
Wow.
In the first hour of mentorship from her, she
Yes.
helped me unlock a paradigm that I've had and held on to since I was about 11.
Wow.
I was bullied in Scouts,
Holy shit.
and I created this long-term memory that made me feel unworthy, bullied for being ginger
Okay.
by this one particular guy. Probably wouldn't even recognize him. As soon as he said it, he probably didn't even remember it. But I held on to that negative self-worth from then all the way until probably 13 days ago.
Holy shit.
And,
Holy shit.
and I found that out in an hour, and I was like,
And then it just collapsed.
I just needed to tell everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's the power of awareness, man.
Yeah,
When you're
yeah.
aware and you're just like, well, that's silly, that doesn't mean anything. All of a sudden, it's just like, well, if it doesn't mean anything, you let go. Do you know what I mean?
It just collapsed then
It's just
in that conversation.
Phenomenal. Not even like,
And that was
not
13
even
days ago.
hypnotism. Yeah, it's super brand
So
new.
I would
very new to
imagine
this.
that the trajectory of your life is only 13 days in
Man,
from
I
that
am-
shift. So you think 13 months in from that point, your trajectory is going to go like that, as opposed to just staying on that
Yeah.
child that was bullied narrative. You're 13
Well,
days in, you're going to go like that,
it's
man.
it's one of many. But it's
Wow.
like, how powerfully can you ask somebody a question, and then you ask them the question again? So there's this really amazing exercise that I was introduced to very recently called the 7 Whys.
Okay.
So this is how I came to the realization
Of
my long-term negative, low self-worth paradigm.
which was anchored to that.
So the question was, what are my patterns?
Okay.
And I thought, that's very broad. Well, my patterns are, I close businesses. I walk away from passion projects.
After years of fucking investment.
But to make it super short and succinct, it's like, what are your patterns? My patterns are, I walk away from huge commitment projects. And then it's like, why? And then you write the answer.
That's your first why.
And then you go down, why?
Drill down.
You go down to 7 whys. If you think there are more whys at the point of 7, you take the 7th line, you make that the new question, and you do 7 whys. See, when I got to the end of the second 7, so 14 whys, I was like, because I was bullied at the Spikes, I was like, and I just knew right there and then, I felt like I lost 5 stone on the spot. I was like, I got goosebumps by the way.
Me too.
Oh, I'm so glad I knew that. I had no idea.
That's a life tool.
And that's only one thing that I've drawn out.
Holy shit.
there's been so much more gold. I understand the importance of journaling, because now I know what I'm journaling about.
Yeah.
That
Of
whole
course.
busyness and obligation, I've literally moved on from it, and I'm like, I am 100% a different person. I'm so grateful to know that.
But so where did it start? I know you're with Jennifer now. I know you're aware of journaling now.
Yep.
But do you know what I've just noticed?
What?
The screen colour has dropped, which means we've got 5%.
Okay. But we're still going.
But we're still going. So I am going to I don't want to. I want it all to be in one take.
Well, 5% will get us what? 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
That's
5 minutes. We'll wrap it up in 5, and we'll capture it all in one take, and it just makes my life easy.
Sure.
And I think that we
Get on the fiver and delegate it.
yeah. And then
Or
we'll have to do a part 2 because we're just touching.
Really?
Yeah, we're just
That'd be
touching.
amazing.
We're just touching on the fucking Mathew 2.0 here after your mentoring work. That's a different chapter altogether. Your trajectory's just going to go like that now. It was only 13 days ago. You've only got a new.
I was such a
new
yes
coach.
man that even when I was asking for help and receiving it during lockdown, my mind was so busy I couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, but that's life.
Whereas now
Stressed out
I'm
like
like,
fuck. You've got the space now.
I somehow managed to find the ability to just go, no, I can't do anything. I
Yeah.
can't work with my sister. I can't help my friend. I was like, I need to do nothing. I need to get into cold water. I need to sit on my own. I need to go and watch sunrises and sunsets, and I need to find these wee nuggets. And before I started my journaling diary, which is A4 by the way, because I got a lot of shit to go.
You need.
I was making notes on my
Oh,
phone.
I don't doubt it because I went on that journey a long time ago, and it was inspired by a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, mate, I have fucking A4 pads like that.
But are you going through it though?
Oh, I went through the fucking
Did you?
shit. You better believe it. But I call that decluttering.
Yes.
That was my decluttering process. I had to have that place in my life at that point.
Yes.
Whereas you're at that place now, but you're like, fuck everything, don't care, no.
Yeah.
This is for me.
And I've never said no, and I tell you,
And you're
it's phenomenal.
shedding your skin. Let's say you're the fucking caterpillar that's coming out of the cocoon and you're the butterfly. So see, we're going to call it a day. And then Mathew 2.0, the fucking butterfly chapter. We're going to.
Do I need my face painted or?
Well, we can do that. But we're going to do this again, and we're going to start from when the trajectory goes up, and that's a whole new chapter.
No pressure.
No chapter, or no pressure.
It could be a spiritual elevation. That's definitely coming in.
Yep. Honestly,
But
mate.
All I can
love
say
it.
is, I feel good about the future, and I'm glad things were the way they were, and I wouldn't change it.
No, and I want to capture that because there's an energy there, and it's going to be fucking special. And I just want to thank you for coming on. I just think that it's a great time to draw a line in the sand because the next time that we chat, there's going to be a buzz, and I think we've captured Mathew 1.0, and I can't wait to capture Mathew 2.0.
Sick.
So, I'll drink that, buddy.
That was awesome, mate. Thank you.
No, thank you, and it was awesome, and I appreciate it. So, see you all later. We'll see you on the flip side.